All right, what is going on, guys? Got another breakdown for UFC London. This one is at flyweight. We got Charles Johnson taking on Muhammad Mokaev. About even on reach. Johnson's going to be 2 inches taller. Obviously, Mokaev coming in with a ton of hype for Johnson. It'll be his UFC debut. So I'll start with Charles Johnson. Coming off an excellent title defense with LFA against Carlos Moda. Gets him out of there with a beautiful combination in the fifth round. Really close fight, very high pace. I think it was 2-2 heading into the fifth. Johnson doing a little bit cleaner striking. Moda, a little bit of a power advantage. He was getting more takedowns too, not really able to do a ton with them. But yeah, great fight. It's on YouTube. For whatever reason, on the YouTube version, they show you the end of the fight and then they show you the fight, which is a little weird, but yeah, that's available to watch on YouTube if you want to watch it. He has 2 losses in his career. One of them was to Brandon Royval. He's fought the majority of his pro fights with LFA, so coming in polished. He has a Muay Thai background and a boxing background. He has some pro Muay Thai bouts, some pro boxing bouts. So coming in very well rounded. He also has I believe he has a collegiate wrestling background. I'm not sure. Wrestling is not really his strong suit, at least in the octagon. Striking though, very good. Very good. Good Thai style. Switches stances well. Very straight punches, fast hands. He's got some good knees here and there. I love the cardio though, and the stance switching ability is very good. Again, high pace, and yeah, the cardio, man, is really what leaps off the page with Charles Johnson to me. Big for the weight class, so is Mokaev. They're both big flyweights. And I'm looking forward to see what Charles Johnson can do. He's getting a tough draw here, but I'll be real, man. If there was ever a guy who seems like a hype train derailer, I could see Charles Johnson doing it. He's not a can at all, which is why it surprises me that they're matching him up with Muhammad Mokaev, a guy they definitely want to promote. But yeah, he's not lost on the ground. We'll see how he does against Mokaev. I think he probably is going to have a tough time just because Mokaev's so next level, but he was getting taken down a fair amount in the Moda fight. He was getting his kicks caught a fair amount. He does have a steady diet of kicks that he throws. So we'll see if he abandons that. His boxing is good, though. He goes to the body a fair amount. And yeah, man, I like Charles Johnson. Very well rounded. Muhammad Mokaev, though, very hyped prospect. One of the most hyped prospects in the UFC right now. And I do think he has that it factor. There's some of these fighters that you just identify them right away, man, and they don't disappoint. Obviously, the main issue with him is he's 21. He's gonna be 22 at the end of the month, I believe. But not a lot of pro fights. This will be his 7th pro fight. It's not that he hasn't. He's got some amateur fights. He's got some fights that don't count towards his pro record. So he's been fighting for a long time. He does have experience, but in terms of pro fights, there's just not many. But man, talk about an amazing UFC debut. Comes in as a big favorite against Cody Durden, who's solid. He's fought at bantamweight before, bounces around. So not a small guy, not a can or anything. And he ends that fight within the first minute. Gets a flying knee, jumps on a guillotine right away once Durden was hurt, and it was from the front too. He drops it, and he just had no ability to get out of it. Gets the first round guillotine. Has a couple submissions. Most of his he's finished most of his pro fights, but yeah, mostly by submission. Very high level ground game. Like I said, they compare him to Khabib a lot. He compares himself to Khabib. I know all Dagestanis get compared to Khabib, but this guy is definitely one of the blue chippers. He's only 22. Markets himself very well on the feet. Very good movement, and he throws everything with intent. Very good kicking game already. You can tell. I think he'll come into his own with striking more too. He moves well. The leg kicks are good. The body kicks are good. And once he gets the fight to the ground, he's very much a submission threat. It's very hard to get up from underneath him. So we look at the odds here, and Muhammad Mokaev, a big favorite, minus 460, minus 520 on FanDuel, which is why I wanted to make this one early. No surprises here. I'm going with Muhammad Mokaev. I usually don't like to bet money lines once they get over like the minus 330 range. Like that's like kind of where I cap it because if you look at the way I like to bet on Bet Tip, I like to do a lot of like doubles parlays. One I'm confident in, one that like I'm fairly confident in, and I roll that way. When it's one of these fights though, where you can tell the line's gonna get to like -600, -700, if you know what you're doing early in the week, you can pull the trigger on those, and I did. I did pull the trigger on Muhammad Mokaev at -450, so it's already trending. It's pricier on most other books, so if you can get it under -500, that'd be ideal. Over -500 is where even it's like where I start to draw the line. Just in general, like even if I'm super confident, there's not much to do there. There's not much to do in the -400 range either, but it does give you a little bit more room to parlay it with something. Like I said, I will say, man, Charles Johnson is good, 100%. I definitely think I'll be picking him in the future. He reminds me of Ode Osborne, kind of. He's big for the weight class. Very good striking. We'll see what he's got in the ground game, but I just don't think it's going to be enough to survive Mokaev. I am going to go with Mokaev inside the distance, too. It could be one where the price is just so ridiculous that I might be forced to go with submission. If I had to pick a method, I would say submission, but yeah, we'll see. I'd like to do inside the distance if it is a manageable price, but I did bet the money line while it's here. I've already said what I think the range I would still play money lines are at. If you can still get them -500 or below, I think that you can do something with a parlay. Other than that, if you can't get it at that, I just don't fuck around with money lines that high. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Sure, subscribe and take it easy.